The attitude is it's on you for getting the virus. It's on you, NFL team, whichever team it is, 49ers, Raiders, whatever, for having a guy who gets it, as they continue to send all these guys out into the communities where the numbers are going through the roof.
Yeah, right.
So there's a randomness to this. It's not always fault. What they're doing is they're making teams pay the price for the inherent flaws in the NFL's process. Everyone's going home at night and possibly getting it.
Yep.
Everyone's coming back and giving a sample in the morning.
Right.
That we don't know until the next day whether or not it was positive.
Yeah.
So the guy's in the building with everyone else. He's on the practice field with everyone else. He's on the sidelines with everyone else on game day for guys who tested positive on game day. That's where I don't like it, because it introduces a randomness that has teams fall victim to this lack of preparation or being shorthanded for a game, and they really didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah. No, I mean, you're right. It's hard to avoid at this point unless you're being, listen, like you said, you're going to charity events in some building and something like that, then, hey, you get it. I don't feel that sorry for you. I don't know what to say. Yeah, you're toking the line of being reckless and stupid in those type of situations. But
did you say toking the line?
I did. But either way.
Do you think that's the right way to say it?
What is the right way? What is it? Toe. That's it.
Toe.
That's it. Got it. Yeah, that's the one I keep messing up.
Yeah, stick with the T and two vowels. Leave out any other consonant.
Okay, thank you. Either way, I guess that's why they have to take these extreme measures, though, right, Mike? I mean, I don't know. This is why Trent Williams and Brandon Ayuk, even though they're not positive for the test and they were in close contact. I think that's probably what the NFL is doing. One, they're worried about, hey, we want to make sure the game happens, like you're saying. They want to get that done, and they know it might take a few days before, if we found out somebody else was positive or whatever, it might happen, and then it spreads through the football team. But I guess that's why they have to take these extreme measures for guys that are not positive, too, because of the things you said about the randomness off the field and everything like that, to where we just don't know yet. And I guess they're being extra careful. As much as it stinks for the 49ers that Trent Williams and Ayuk, are not playing, what else is the NFL supposed to do? I mean, what is the NFL, roll the dice and let them in the facility, and then all of a sudden we find out one of them is positive, and now there's 20 other guys positive? So that's where it's a really tough one there, and I can't really fault the NFL a whole lot for what they have in this situation until you have a bubble or something like that,
right?
And then it could be different.
Well, the only way to ensure equity for all teams would have been to put the teams in a home market bubble to limit the opportunities to catch it when you're away from the facility. And see, that's the thing. There have been people who have gotten this, even though they've dotted every I and crossed every T and done everything they were supposed to do to avoid it. Not every infection and exposure is the result of carelessness or negligence. And I guess the message is, and if you're an NFL team, coach, GM, owner, team president, whoever, anyone in a position of authority, the message to the entire organization is this. The NFL is basically applying a strict liability standard. They don't care how any of our people get it. All they care is, did somebody test positive on a day where they gave the sample, were at work, and potentially were in contact with other people?
Right.
If yes, then whoever they were in sufficiently close contact with is getting shut down, even if they never got it. And so we are in an even more important position of having to do everything we can to avoid being exposed to it, which means choosing to stay in a hotel, which means at your house, splitting it into sections where the guy who's playing football stays here and everybody else stays there, and you just talk through FaceTime or something.
Yeah, right.
You never get in the same room with each other. Those are the kind of measures for the teams down the stretch that want to avoid this. I mean, think about it. For the 49ers tonight, and we'll talk about this in a second, whether or not they have a snowball's chance in hell against the Packers, but, this is a loss that potentially it will move them one closer to one loss too many.
Yeah.
And, not that we thought they were going to turn it around and make it to the playoffs anyway, but when you're 4-4 and it can go either way, and the first game you get this curveball thrown at your head, and you go to 4-5, and you feel like it happens under circumstances that weren't appropriate, it makes it even harder for Kyle Shanahan to hold everything together, Chris.
Yeah, no, it does. I mean, it's more of going to be a lesson, again, for, I think, other teams in football, just, again, to be like, whoa, we got to be careful here. I mean, this could ruin it. This could ruin the whole season for the 49ers. I mean, it really can. And it also can be a great advantage. I mean, think about the Packers right now, a team that's reeling a little bit. They've lost 2 out of the last 3, and they got to go to San Francisco, a place where they got whooped last year. I mean, whooped both times.
Twice.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, totally dominated. And they don't match up well with them, as is even this year. But now, man, you're going to get to go there, and fortunately your team's done everything right or got lucky and avoided the virus, and you're going to get to play this football game and, play a much less than 49ers football team here to kind of jumpstart your game there. So, I mean, that to me is the thing that I think players are going to continue to look at, especially, the teams that are in the race right now, where they're going to have these incentives to hopefully be very strict and not be stupid outside the facility. I don't think it's going to be realistic to block off the house for these guys like you're saying, but I do think they'll try their best to avoid restaurants or doing anything like that. And
I'd sure as hell like to think at this point they're doing their best to avoid restaurants. Chris, I haven't been to a restaurant since March.
Right.
And I don't have a professional athlete career hinging on my ability to stay away from the virus. I mean, I'd like to not catch it. I don't want to roll the dice. I've got a couple of other factors that make me concerned that I could have a bad outcome. So, yeah, I don't want it. But still, you're not giving up much, right? Listen, one thing I've learned over the last 7 months of not going to restaurants is I really didn't need to go to restaurants. It's kind of nice, but I don't need it. Right? You can get the food and bring it to your house. Yeah.
You're right. It's a spoil of life to be able to go to the restaurant, get away. You're right. But it's not like a necessity or anything like that. And, yeah, I would like to think to what you're saying. I know we've had this conversation earlier this week. If I was playing quarterback in football right now, I don't even know if my kids would be in school, anything. I'd probably be keeping them all home and just going, sorry. This is the way life is right now. It's too important for daddy's career. And it's too important for the rest of your life because daddy's making a lot of money and it's going to help out the rest of your life. So you're staying at home at the kitchen table and looking to the iPad and zoom it up here, kid. I mean, that's what I would be saying if I was still playing.
Well, and these are the measures that players need to understand they must consider given the way that the NFL is dealing with it. Is it fair? Doesn't matter. This is the way it's going to be. The alternative is home market bubble or don't play. This is the only way that they can do it safely. This is their way of dealing with the inherent flaws in the system, the incubation period and the lag time between sample collection and the arrival of the result. Those are things the NFL at least has acknowledged in a roundabout way. It can't crack, so it has to come up with a hack around it, and that's what they've done, and that's why the game's going forward tonight. And look, part of it, let's be real. We always are. There's a financial motive here.
Yes,
they don't want to start missing games and having to pay back the networks. And even if money wouldn't be paid back, it's definitely become something that has to be dealt with in the ongoing relationship. They don't want to do that. They don't want to be in that position. So meanwhile, the networks just have to take it. And look, this is not – I'm not being critical here. I'm just saying this is the way it is. Fox tonight, they're getting a game – where it's A team versus B team.
Yeah.
And this is a far less attractive game now.
No, definitely. It definitely
is. But hey, any given Thursday, right? Who knows what will happen? Paul Allen was on PFTPM yesterday, and he follows the Packers very closely because they're in the Vikings division and they play twice a year. He said the Vikings did to the Packers what the 49ers did to the Packers twice last year with the running. He sensed that there were guys on the Packers defense that just weren't bringing it the way that they should.
Right.
Speaks to the lack of energy that Aaron Rodgers noticed last week. And maybe there's a way to catch the Packers napping here. Maybe the Packers think they just show up and win this game, and they get hit in the mouth early, and they realize it's not going to be quite so easy.
Listen, before the COVID-19 stuff here, I was very seriously going, I'm not so sure I'm not going to take the 49ers here. I was not like, definitely going with Green Bay because they got two more wins than the 49ers at this point, or 2 less losses, whatever that is. But yeah, there is some real issues here with the matchup. The NFL is a matchup league, and as we've seen, the Packers, they can stop the run against good running football teams. I mean, that's just the simple facts of the matter. And Shanahan, with his ability to run and then the knowledge he has of Mike Pettin because they were on the same staff, this is where he can be dangerous. This is why he was dangerous against them last year, because I'm sure he knew, if I get him in this formation or this and that, he likes to play this defense. And, oh, man, do I got something for him when he does that. Oh, bam, George Kittle, corner post, 70-yard touchdown. Oh, Raheem Mostert down the sideline, untouched for 45-yard touchdown runs. So there is something to look at tonight where I do give the 49ers hope. One, because they still got some good football players on the field. Two, Shanahan is creative, but I just don't know if they can overcome it now. I don't. It's a few too many players, and then no practice or walkthroughs or being in the building yesterday. I just don't think I could actually pick the 49ers as much as I think they have a chance to pull off an upset tonight.
That's where an extra few days would have really
would have, right?
Kyle Shanahan. Not insofar as maybe you get Trent Williams and Brandon Ayuk back, but you get a little more time to cook up something that you can implement, that you can teach,
right,
and that your guys can go out and try to knock off the Packers. But I'm with you. This sets up as a potential surprise for Green Bay. Look, they've been dreadful their last 3 games in California. And it's glaring because they otherwise have been so damn good.
Right.
Last year, they were 13-3 in the regular season, 13-4 if you add in the playoffs. 1 loss at home, a close one, a fluky one to the Eagles on a Thursday night. 3 losses in California. And ugly losses in California to a non-playoff Chargers team in a building where the Packers overran the stadium,
right,
Packers fans overran the stadium, and 2 losses to the 49ers. And remember, we had Zadarius Smith with us at the Super Bowl, and he was at a loss to explain what happened, and he admitted they don't have energy, they don't have juice. There's a defect there somewhere, somehow. And we talked about this on Football Pod in America yesterday because I was pressing Tony Dungy and Rodney Harrison to help me understand when Aaron Rodgers says there's a lack of energy, who's he calling out?
Yeah.
Rodney says it's the defensive leadership that is laying down on the job, that isn't getting it done. And Coach Dungy said, in Indianapolis, when Peyton Manning's around, you never hear a thing about a lack of energy.
Right.
So, you got a shell game here.
Yeah.
Coach, quarterback, defensive leaders.
Right.
Somebody's not properly putting a foot in the ass of the Green Bay Packers defense at the worst possible times.
Right.
And maybe that happens again tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it could. It certainly can. Well, it's hard to have, that energy sometimes and the things that Rodney's talking about, because I agree with, Rodney, and I understand what he's saying, and I understand what Coach is saying too. But where I'll say, the Packers don't win the physical battle a lot. And when you don't win the physical battle a lot, it's hard to be the team of energy because you're always going, oh, we kind of need the game to go this way. And then we show energy. Oh, we're up by 10? Oh, this is when we get energy because we got pass rushers and we got a lot of good cover guys. And now we're ready. We got energy now. We're up by 10. But wait, it's still 7-7 and you can run and throw? Oh, no, we lose our energy because they start to get physically beat up. And then on offense, hey, Aaron Jones or not, they're a good running offense, but they're not a great running offense. They're a borderline really good to great running offense because of number 12 at quarterback and what he does. And he opens the field up for the run game and always gets them in the right plays and things like that, to where he is responsible for the energy on offense almost always. He really is. And when I say he, I mean Aaron Rodgers. So, I just don't know if you can fix some of the problems they have. They're still going to be good. They're going to be in the playoffs. They're going to be a pain in the butt to get them out of the playoffs, but that's because of number 12. I don't know if their team, as we've talked about, I don't know if I look at it as Super Bowl caliber. I look at it as playoff caliber with a Super Bowl quarterback where maybe if you get the right matchups in the playoffs, they can get to the Super Bowl and do some damage there, and we'll see. But I think there's a handful of matchups in the NFC and any team that, plays the Packers where it's just not good for them. And, that's where I worry about them a little bit.
You mentioned Aaron Jones. He's officially questionable for tonight's game with a calf injury. He wasn't downgraded yesterday, which means he made the trip, and he's in play. And they need him because Jamal Williams is on the COVID-19 reserve list. The Packers had the issue earlier this week because A.J. Dillon, one of their running backs, tested positive on Sunday. To your point about the defense. This is something Rodney mentioned yesterday, and this is something I noticed when I rewatched the game earlier this week because Shereen Williams and I do a rewatch every Tuesday, and it was that game. There's a moment where, and we always talk about how the X's and O's and it looks good until it's time to go do it. There's a moment where Irv Smith, Vikings tight end, neutralizes convincingly Preston Smith, Packers linebacker, to blow a hole wide open for Dalvin Cook. That shouldn't happen, Chris.
It definitely shouldn't. No. You know, there's issues as far as physicality for them in the run game, and then there's issues for them schematically a little too at times and where, you know, the positions they're put in. But the biggest problem they have is they just don't have run stoppers. They don't. Kenny Clark is good. I think he's a little overrated. I'm not going to lie. I think Green Bay paid him a little too much, but I understand that. They drafted him in the first round. He's been pretty consistently good throughout his career. But other than that, Mike, they just don't have anybody else who's capable of either one, clogging holes and creating a mosh pit, or two, just shooting through gaps and creating disruption that way. They have nothing on the inside that way. And, you know, I think it's something that they're going to have to continue to toy with as they go here, because maybe they're a team that goes, hey, the hell with it. We don't play defensive tackles. We got Kenny Clark, and we got Preston Smith, and we got, you know, Rashawn Gary, who they drafted in the first round 2 years ago, and Preston Smith. And maybe they just go the linebacker kind of New England route, and they move people around and try to confuse you, and you don't know who's coming, who's going. But I do think it's worth toying with, because when they do try to play straight up and physical, they never win those battles.
And to further underscore the risks in all NFL communities, the Packers have announced that they will have no fans at home games for the foreseeable future in the interest of the safety of the community in Wisconsin, one of the areas now where the virus is raging out of control.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.